probably because two people that we are not seeing.
We got two.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong. I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down. I'll be getting loud, you can never doubt, not what I'm about. Have your cloud, it be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, some legend bound, can't stop me now.
Referee say 2-1.
Cause I just wanna hear it out your mouth, yeah.
There we go.
Give me tools, tool that I use to go ahead and run my mouth, yeah. I take shots, I take loss, I make shots, I miss lots. You get big costs, you get yachts, you swing lots and pop off a big shot. I'm done chasing, got big dreams, bigger things, impatient. Who's at the top think they need replacement? Who's at the top think I'm gonna erase and face it? I don't give up, I don't give up, I won't give up this. Cause I know that I want it, know that I want it, I'll make it, I promise. A slow burn like a disease. Just tell me what I can and show you things that you couldn't believe.
There we go, let's keep it rolling. Swing 66 for Lydia. Load on two. Load on two.
Hey everyone, Dan from Gym here, and we are back from Nationals where we had an absolutely perfect day. Maybe not 100% perfect though. So I'm just gonna quickly run through the day and basically talk about how the meet went. Starting on weigh-in, one advantage in being the first flight, that is that I get to weigh in first and then hopefully eat sooner. However, there was a bit of a hiccup with that. I went into the little weigh-in area, got undressed, stepped on the scale, and the scale went 93.2, 93.1, 93.07. I'm over. So 0.07 kilos over is not terrible. Of course, I need to weigh under 93, otherwise I'm not allowed to compete at nationals. So I went over to the waiting area and shout out to my friend Jake. As soon as I told him, he tossed me a couple of Jolly Ranchers and said, get spitting. So basically just spent a half an hour walking back and forth, sucking on Jolly Ranchers to generate saliva in the mouth, and then spitting into a water bottle to try and get some fluids out of my system a little bit faster. There's different ways that you can do this. You could start running around the block to try and get the sweat going. You could put on all your clothes, sit in your car with the heat turned up. So basically my plan was, well, it's only 0.07. I'll try just pacing around. I had to wait until the end of weigh-ins in order to weigh in again. I'll re-weigh then, and if I still don't make it, then we will look at if I have to take drastic measures, which we did. The second time I weighed in, 92.97 kilos, right under a mark, so absolutely perfect. The only thing I was a little disappointed by was my breakfast was delayed, so I quickly sat down and started munching on that, and then got into our warm-ups. So in my last video, I talked about how the flights were split up. So there were 3 of us 93s, and we were with some guys in lighter weight classes. And one issue right away is 2 guys did not even show up in that flight. So now our flight size goes from 12 people down to 10. And this is something I'm keeping an eye on because the shorter the flight size, the less your breaks are during a competition. So it was nothing to worry about right at the start, but just something to stay aware of. So first we'll start with squats. My opening attempt, 225 kilos, just like planned. Warm-ups were feeling good. Went out, did the attempt. I got 2 white lights and 1 red light. The 1 red light was from the side judge for depth. Nothing to worry about. The plan was basically just keep going according to plan and then maybe just try to push a little bit deeper on the second squat. So I went out for the second squat, pushed a little bit deeper and got 3 white lights. So I knew I was clear. Because I was clear, I loaded up the scheduled third attempt of 245 kilos. Had that loaded up, and I didn't squat to the same depth on the second attempt. I basically just squatted down until I got to the point where I thought, well, this is about as far down as I can go, and then started going back up. There was a bit of a sticking point, but you can even see in the lift that I smiled at the top because it felt easier than I expected, which I was pretty happy about. And I still had 1 red light from the same judge on one side as the first squat, but that doesn't worry me too much. It might just mean that looking from the one side, I didn't actually hit depth, but then looking from the front and looking from the other side, I did hit depth. So really happy with how squats went. Hit a 5-pound PR just like I wanted to, and then started getting warmed up for bench press. Bench press was pretty drama-free. Had a great warm-up. I actually got pretty ahead of schedule in my warm-ups, so then my last few warm-ups for bench press, I could really space them out and slow things down. Calgary Barbell actually recently published a video talking about how to plan your warm-ups for a meet, and it's a really good tool if you've never spaced it out properly or if you've had issues spacing it out properly. And basically what I do is I just kind of err on the side of sooner is better. You can always slow down your warm-ups. You don't want to be 10 minutes out from your first attempt and you still have 2 warm-ups left to hit. Basically you just want to try and get ahead of schedule and then see if you can just slow things down a little bit just to take them as you need them to stay warm and to get warm for your opening attempt. So bench went pretty well. I don't have anything special to really talk about with bench other than I got all 3 attempts and I got 3 white lights on every single attempt. I was really happy with how it moved, and looking at that final attempt of 175 kilos, 385 pounds, I really don't think I had much more in the tank because you could have, maybe if you added 2.5 kilos, I would have been able to get it off my chest, I know that, but it might have gotten stuck at the sticking point. So I think attempt selection was really on point for that, and I'm just happy with how the bench moved. We're talking again now about flight sizes. So right now at this point, our flight size is down to 10. We actually had someone in our flight bomb out on bench press. Basically, the athlete missed all 3 of his bench attempts, which meant that he won't be registering a total for the meet. And so at nationals, you're allowed to continue competing just to continue getting the experience of lifting, or often what other lifters will do, they won't come out to lift, but they will still put in attempts and then run out the timer. So they will put in attempt, the bar will get loaded up on the platform, and then they have a 1-minute timer to do the attempt, and then they simply just don't come out and they do not make the lift. And what that does is it's a bit of a sportsmanship thing where it gives that extra 1-minute break for all of the other lifters to get a little bit of extra rest so that they're not rushed or dealing with a shorter flight. Unfortunately, the athlete left the competition entirely, so now our flight size went from 10 down to 9. And I don't believe I've had issues with a 9-person flight size before, but I remember I had one meet where I have it written down, we actually had a flight size down to 7. It started at 8 and then we lost someone, and I found that a 3rd squat attempt I failed really due to being tired rather than not having enough strength. So that was something that I was keeping aware of going into deadlifts, especially where deadlifts had my biggest goal of the day, which was breaking the provincial record. Now talking about deadlifts, one piece of advice I'll always give to someone deadlifting is make sure you get the bar out of a divot. So in competition, the platforms that we lift on, it's basically just 2 sheets of plywood with carpet wrapped over top. And you can imagine after a few people start deadlifting and dropping some heavy weights on that plywood, you start to get little dents in it. So when I went out for my first deadlift attempt, I rolled the bar back because it looked like it was in a bit of a divot. And I could actually feel it go up on the platform. So I was glad I did that. And then my second attempt, I did the same thing, rolled it up to the same position, and I could feel when I was rolling it, it went up to a high spot, so that was great. But then after my second attempt, my dad pointed out to me, who is also my coach, hey, that bar is still a little bit in an indent, try rolling it back farther. So on my third attempt, before I went out there, I rolled it up, I felt it go up just like normal, but then I decided to roll it just a little bit farther to the back of the platform some more, and it honestly felt like it went up twice as high than it was going up before. So that's something that if you want to be really particular about getting the best setup that you can for a deadlift, make sure that the weight is not sitting in a little divot inside the platform. If you lift sumo, you might not want to move it forward because that's typically where baby powder is on the ground and you might not have as much grip. But if you deadlift conventionally, you should be able to roll the bar forward if you need to. The other thing I was considering is because it had been such a long week of lifting, I might have to roll it forward, roll it left again, and then roll it back so it wouldn't be sitting in any divots. So pretty glad that it didn't have to come to that. So just a little tip for anyone deadlifting in competition. Deadlift warm-ups, they went pretty well. Everything's feeling good. Unfortunately, when I grabbed the bar out on the platform, it felt a little bit slippery. And it was the same thing as Westerns last year. I think it was just, you have a whole week of people competing and really packing in the baby powder into that bar, and you just lose that knurling. So it was a little bit on the slippery side, but it did not affect me too much. On my opening attempt, I lifted the bar up and could feel it roll a little bit in my left hand, but it just kind of felt like the bar was settling into place. And then actually on my second and third attempt, you had the same thing as well. So for my second attempt, I did 287.5 kilos, just like I planned before, and that weight also moved, so we had the green light to go for the record. Loaded up the record, came out, got myself extra hyped out, probably more hyped up than I've been in a few meets, and I was able to get that pull. It felt great. It actually moved better than I expected. I've had a couple people tell me that I had room for more, but I was never going to take that chance anyway. So glad I could lock in that provincial record, and just super proud of how the prep went, how I was able to just stick to the plan and execute accordingly. And that was just a really good feeling in the day. Overall, my total was 722.5 kilos. So going into this meet, there were 15 lifters, and I was ranked 15th going in because I had just hit the qualifying total. Then we had one lifter who was injured and did not show up, so that put me up to 14th. And then throughout the day, just by hitting my attempts, I actually managed to get up to 10th place, which I'm really proud of too. And that just comes down to you show up, you prepare, you execute. When you want to place well in the meet, you've got to make your lifts. You can send it if you want, but there's always that risk and reward ratio. If you're taking the big risk, unfortunately, it's not going to pay out a lot of the time. So really happy with getting 10th place. Looking at the individual lifts, I had the 13th best squat, I had the 6th best bench press, and then for deadlift, there was a 5-way tie for 3rd place for deadlift. So a lot of guys like to attempt that 302.5 kilos. And just the fact that my bench and my deadlift were that high up the rankings too also kind of surprised me. And on top of that, my progress over the last year was adding 32.5 kilos to my total, which I'm just super stoked about as well, especially because I was trying a new program throughout this whole last year. And in terms of a review of the programming, if you're interested in following the same program, it's the Renaissance periodization videos for powerlifting. I definitely recommend giving it a try, especially if you're looking for a change up in how you're doing things. So just really happy with how my individual lifts ranked. I know squat is always going to be on the lower side, but pretty proud of how bench and deadlift ended up amongst the other lifters. Now we can talk about what's next. Basically, for 2 weeks after this meet, I am not touching a barbell. I'm a little bit burnt out from training over the winter, so it's going to be nice to have a big 2-week break. And then coming back into training here, it's not going to be 100% grinding all the time anymore. I'm going to be making some schedule changes and being a little bit more flexible in my schedule. So I don't suspect that I will be progressing as quickly as I did in this last year, but I'm hoping that I can still progress, and ultimately I'm just trying to achieve a bit more of a gym life balance per se. So I won't be doing any gym vlogs, however I want to make some review videos on the gym equipment that I have here. So if you have any questions about the equipment that I've been using, feel free to let me know and I'll try to work it into one of my review videos. And then talking about the next meet I'll be attending, the next one I have planned is Saskatchewan Provincials, which is in September. So quite a bit of ways away to just take a break, enjoy summer, and just get back to enjoying training. That is the end of this vlog series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the meet recaps. If you have any questions about my training or questions for your training, please feel free to leave them down below. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And I just appreciate the support. I have a few friends that have been watching these, and I just love hearing back about it. And lastly, I hope your training is going well, and I will see you in the next one.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.